Now, the last speaker on this panel is Mr. Paul Divakar Namala, who is the convener of the Global Forum of Communities Discriminated on Work and Dissent. You have the floor, sir.
Excellencies, distinguished delegates, and my colleagues. 60 years after its adoption, ICERD remains a cornerstone of the international human rights architecture for people like me, especially who are from the communities discriminated on work and dissent. It's remarkable both for its clarity and purpose of its adaptability. For me, particularly, it's an honor because I had the opportunity to work with Professor Patrick Thornberry, right in around end of 2001, and in giving him the necessary information and data which has evolved the General Recommendation 29. So I'm really, really proud and grateful for giving me this opportunity. CERD has succeeded where it has remained dynamic, interpretative, and responsive. Particularly two mechanisms in particular demonstrate this vitality. General recommendations have continuously updated global standards addressing contemporary racism, structural discrimination, intersectionality, digital profiling, hate speech, and critically, discrimination based on dissent. General Recommendation 29 on dissent is a powerful example of CERD expanding conceptual clarity in response to global realities. The second one, interstate and individual communications. To an extent, this has been underutilized, but these procedures have set important jurisprudential precedents because they affirm that racial discrimination is indeed justiciable and not merely aspirational. Despite this significant progress, one major gap persists: the insufficient recognition of discrimination based on work and dissent, although clearly interpreted with ICERD through General Recommendation 29, this form of discrimination remains largely unaddressed in national legislations, some, UN mechanisms, and development agenda. Today, 270 million people, including Dalits, Roma, Burakumin, Kilambola, Haratin, Ozu, I can go on the list. These communities or peoples experience systemic exclusion rooted in inherited status, traditional slavery legacies, and occupational hierarchies. Their exclusion exposes a broader lesson. An instrument, a living instrument, is only effective when states operationalize its full scope. How do we ensure ICERD remains relevant and impactful in this landscape, which is growing with xenophobia, digital forms of racial profiling, shrinking civic space, and increasing state disengagement from the multilateral processes? One, revitalize implementation to clear thematic priorities such as dissent, algorithmic discrimination, environmental racism, and intersectional gendered racial discrimination, ensuring these are consistently addressed across concluding observations, communications, and early warnings. Second, strengthen cooperation with UN special procedures in regional mechanisms such as UPR, and especially recent African Commission on Human and People's Rights, which has beginning to bring this issue up through its resolution. This cooperation amplifies impact, especially given the budgetary constraints. Lastly, increasing awareness, supporting victims and survivors, and strengthening national human rights institutions can make individual and interstate communications more accessible. ICERD must be understood not as completed work, but as a living charter, constantly renewing its relevance, expanding its protection, and illuminating forms of discrimination that are hidden. By learning from past achievements and shortcomings, and by confronting emerging global challenges and courage, with courage, ICERD can guide us into a future where no community remains invisible and no system of inherited inequality remains untouched. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Merci.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Namala. Thank you as well for having managed your time